Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Jesse Jackson III. I am the best-selling author and facilitator of the Don't Kick 'em Out book and training series and lead advisor and consultant here at the Best Man Company, LLC. Welcome. Always making my videos for superintendents, school board members, and principals, people who are leading schools in things that I've identified typically as a trauma zone, and schools that have been able to find out that models such as PBIS and restorative practices, two things that absolutely are solid research, absolutely do work, absolutely do have a place in the marketplace, but for a lot of those schools is not working. And the thing you've got to be aware of is whether those models work for your school, because they do work. And I have seen situations in trauma zones where PBIS does work perfectly, but what's the distinguishing factor? It is the school leader's personality. And this is what I have continued to convey, and this is why I have developed my program for the schools that PBIS and restorative practices are not working for, because what those things require to be successful is it requires the individuals to have very keen understanding of their environment, understanding of their population, be a person who is consistent and will follow through with every level of what we call the check down. So which means if you put an infrastructure in place, you better be able to follow it all the way through. If you are in a situation where you're using restorative practices, you have to have the facilitators that cannot be manipulated. Like, where you can't create an environment where kids know how to tell you what you want to hear to avoid the long-term consequence. That's the type of thing that has to happen. So in our business, it has not been whether some models can work or not. Some are completely ineffective. But I can tell you, positive behavior support, it absolutely does work, but it is very contingent on the administrator, the facilitator of it, the follow through of the program. That's why we built our program around personal development. We build capacity within people to be able to follow through whatever model and approach that you have to have. So people always ask me about the Don't Cook 'em Out book series. I mean, right now, I think it's up to about 8 or 10 books, but the Don't Kick 'em Out was the foundational principle of it. And then we came with the academic side of it. Pay attention how to teach the at-risk, the strategies that we found from doing, right? I'm a practicer. I practice what I teach, right? Suspension is no longer an option. What are we doing now, right? Closing the discipline gap. So how to know which behavior approach works for your environment, closing the relationship gap, closing the communication gap, right? Closing the poverty gap, better understanding what poverty is. Poverty is not money, it's mental. And in an impoverished environment, a lot of those restorative practices, a lot of those PBIS that can be manipulated, it won't work. Poverty is not money. Poverty was money. That means I can give you $3 million. Well, the stimulus package or the ESSER funds would have flushed it out. It's not. It doesn't work that way. That doesn't even make sense. But we've been trying to do it that way. So, and even talking about things, warning signs of school shooters, like how to deal with school shooter culture. I wrote this book 10 years ago. And why? Because in my juvenile facility, I had kids that shot people at school, that brought guns to school. So it's things that I learned from being around the people that did it. Okay, did it. And then the student behavior handbook. It's the kids' responsibility for behavior. So what we're saying is you've got to find the behavior approach that works for your campus. That's what my specialty is. I am here and specialize in schools that may not have had quite as much success with PBIS. Don't ever say it doesn't work. It might not be good for your campus. It might not work for your community, but it does work. So don't say that. So you've got to find what is going to work on your campus. Now, some of the things here that I believe I want to share with you that'll help you in your process is understanding your community. And the community can be black, white, or brown. It can be located in the suburbs. It can be located in the inner city or in a rural area, working class area. It can be located anywhere, but you have to start recognizing certain signs. And I like to always say, you've got to be aware when the element of the streets has entered your campus. So in a trauma zone, that's the reality of the community, and that is the crime, the violence, the way we approach fighting the real issues of those families. You'd have to be aware of exactly how it looks when it enters into your institution. So one of the signs that the streets is entering into your school culture is you are losing control of fighting, right? So when you see an escalation in violence, the streets have come into your school. When you see an escalation of students cursing out staff, the streets have entered your school. You're in a really bad spot. And now, right, so you think about it the way that I'm saying it, it comes down to understanding verbal assaults. Okay, we have a lot of culture where there are kids verbally assaulting adults in their defiance. So what has to occur is that in those type of environments, those superintendents, those principals, and a lot of principals have to really stand up for their campus, because a lot of times at the district level, we're pushing a district level philosophy, which I totally don't support and I never will. I was the one that came out years ago and said, no more national best practice. No more national best practice, particularly as it comes to behavior. Why is that? Because what we found from being a guy who is a national best practice, who does travel to 43 states in a calendar year, seeing everything. I mean, you take this week alone, okay? I'm starting the week out in Texas. I'm going to Missouri. I'm going to New York. I'm going to Ohio. I'll end the week in California. Who's got a better lens? And I'm not going as the speaker. I'm not giving motivational speeches. I'm talking with management. I'm in training with management. I'm talking to central office, superintendents, principals coming in to sit down. Our trainings is not just me talking. The base of my training is really getting a lot of what's going on from the group. And I spend my energy training the group based on the reality that it's dealing with. Okay. There's different issues going on in Queens, New York than it is in Compton, California. There's different issues going on in San Diego, California, than it is in Brooklyn, New York, in Dallas, Texas, in Hazelwood, Missouri, East St. Louis, Illinois, Detroit, Michigan, the South Side of Chicago, folks. So this is what I'm saying. I said national best practice because you can find the practice, but best practice is based on best people. See, so I understand why these people want to keep pushing these modalities. Is because they don't know any better. I've personally seen things that are national best practices totally not work in an environment because the people don't know how to implement. They don't know what went into the best practice. The best practice was based on the best people. And if that team is what created that change, and they had a team that was able to be consistent and follow through. If you don't have that, nothing you do will work. So you can invest in the model. I have seen people spend $5 million on a new model to help them with reading. And the thing, and 2 years later, it was on to the next one. Why? Because they didn't have people that can follow it through, teach the people how to do it, teach the people why to do it, and follow the process through. Now they're on to a new curriculum, a new approach. And $5 million just went into the vendor's pocket, and they're like, oh my God, sorry, it didn't work out. Next school, that's how it works. So whatever you do, so we are here for those people that are trying to find that way. If PBIS has not worked for you, a restorative practice hasn't worked for you, we have become that company and that model and that group of people that really help those schools that need to understand how to really go about get the results that you want with behavior. If you're one of those schools, always thank you for watching our videos, but we are the channel for you. We are the company for you. We have the training process for you because we tailor all of our training and advising to what's going on in your environment. Principles don't change, but approaches do. And that's how you get success. It's about approach. When you know how to approach discipline based on the environment you're in, you're going to have much more productive result. That's why we're here. If we can help you, as always, reach out, give us a call, send us an email. I always ask my team to make provisions and opportunities for those organizations that need us. We find a way to make it work. If you need me, we will be there. We'll find a way to make it work. Thank you for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you soon and working with you on your campus. Be well.